I bought one of them grill things, you know what I'm saying? Like them Ninja cracking grills, you know what I'm saying? Real quick cooking.
What you mean?
It's like one of them like grill slash air fryer slash. Yeah.
Ooh, I wanted that one.
I bought that thing.
Instead, I got the Breville air fryer.
Yeah. So you press a button. You can press medium rare or rare on your steak. You know what I'm saying? Throw that thing in there.
Then it leaves that hole though, so you put the thermometer in it, and that grosses me out.
That's cool.
That's the only reason why I didn't get it.
I just did it for quick.
If I have to stick a thermometer in my food, when I cut it and see that hole, I'm just like, oh, something crawled in here.
Well, I did it for quick cooking, you know what I'm saying? Because I can't always fire up my coals, you know what I'm saying?
Why are you being mean?
I'm trying to figure out.
Your face said, what?
I'm trying to figure out a hole.
Because when you stick a thermometer,
Yeah, so now it's like set it and forget it on my steak during the week. But if I got a party or if like family coming over, if I want to like cook on the weekends, I'm gonna use my grill.
That thing tight. I was gonna get one, but I ended up getting what I got instead.
Yeah.
But I got
I ain't use it.
Fryer with like
ain't use it yet though.
It's a Breville, so it's an air fryer, a convection oven.
So it got multiple levels.
Two.
That's what I want.
It's tight though. I haven't used it yet, but I watched the YouTube video, and the possibilities are endless.
You went Black Friday shopping?
No. I got it when I moved. So nobody asked me, but I post on Facebook. Since people are asking if I need anything, I'll take Amazon gift card.
Nobody asked me, but I post on Facebook.
Bro, I got like $200 in Amazon gift cards emailed to me that day.
Yeah, because you
That's
commercial
cheap.
out here on social media now.
That's
She like
big.
you see her on social media. She
Looks like Rachel Ray.
Yeah, like she be like posting stuff about her life and how she feels. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I had
Since when were you?
When did Shanice do that?
Okay, because we had all those deaths in our family.
You live, by the way.
And-
We're live. Sorry, I should have told you that because I know you'll be nervous talking about this type of stuff. Sorry, but you 17.
Please continue. When in Rome? I've never heard of it.
It's an old ship called Santiago. Yeah, we live. Sabbath peace.
Sabbath peace.
It's another opportunity for us to hear and learn of the word of truth that is given to us by the Most High God. All honor goes to the Father through the Son, whose name is Yahushua. In him lies the only hope for salvation. We know that it is obtained by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast. And given freely as a gift to all who obey him. We understand that if you do not obey him, it is made manifest and made obvious that you do not believe. In this state, you should expect no good thing from the Most High. However, anything that you do get, whether it be a gift of tongues, a gift of prophecy, or any supernatural experience that you may have, it can and it will be used against you in the day of judgment. With that said, peace to the saints that are in the room, to the saints that couldn't make it, but no peace to the wicked. The only thing we say to them is repent, that they might live. Right?
Right.
Where we leave off last week, let's get right to it.
Genesis 22. We finished 22.
22 or 27?
Oh, my bad. 27. Yeah.
This is Genesis chapter 27. We didn't finish it though. Where were we at? We at
30.
Genesis chapter 27. We probably ended off
Verse 37.
37. Give me about verse. If we ended it, give me about verse 32. This is Genesis chapter 27, verse 32.
And Isaac his father said unto him, Who are you? And he said, I am your son, your firstborn Esau. And
So
Isaac,
remember, we talked about it how Esau came to his father. His father was about to bless him. He said, go ahead and go give me some of that venison like I like it. You know what I'm talking about? Mom's overheard it though, didn't she? You know what I'm saying? Father, who was he pleased by?
Esau.
Father was pleased by Esau. Mama, she loved who?
Jacob.
Mom's overheard it. She looking like, okay. I tell you what, Jacob, this is what you need to do. Esau out there trying to get some venison right now. You just go give me a kid of the goat. Right? Because she knew I could dress it up to make it taste just like that deer. She knew she could do it. She was like, I'll make it just like he liked it. Right? Then he came back, gave it to Jacob. But Jacob, you know, he's a strategizer. So he's looking at it like, I don't know if this gonna work, mama. I'ma speak. He gonna see I ain't hairy. And he gonna know that I'm Jacob and not Esau. You know what I'm saying? She's like, man, go get this blessing. I got the plan, don't worry about it. She covered him, gave him a little bit of goat's hair. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Took some of his garments and covered her in them so he smelled like him. You know what I'm saying? And was like, go ahead, go take it. So he took it to him. Pops was hard of hearing, but Pops was listening. Was like, man, I mean, he is hard of sight. You know what I'm saying? So he is listening to him. He is looking like, I mean, this sounds like Jacob. You know what I'm saying? But the boy feel like Esau. He's like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Give me that venison. He ate his venison, gave him the blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's very important that we understand this, though. You know what I'm saying? Esau gonna tell us in just a second. Let's see. Let's keep going.
And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou came, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceedingly bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Your brother came with subtlety and has taken away your blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times.
Look at that. He said, he has supplanted me. What does supplanted mean?
I kind of like taking his place.
Right. He's gotten the best of me these 2 times. Right? It's very important because this kind of explains a certain separation that's important as we see the blessings that get handed down. Right? So the Most High God blessed Abraham. Right? And made a promise to him. Then Abraham had Isaac, and he handed that down to Isaac. Typically, the birthright goes to who?
The firstborn.
The firstborn who?
Son.
Son. That first boy, that's who it goes to. Who was Abraham's first boy?
Ishmael.
Ishmael, right? Ishmael gets kicked out before Isaac can grow up. That leaves the birthright to go to Isaac. Right? So the birthright and the blessing went to Isaac. The birthright is, you gonna get the promise. Then separately, there's a blessing. Like, okay, you gonna get some other things, this or another. But the birthright is what goes to Abraham. That's what gets passed down to Abraham's seeds. That birthright. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the blessing, which is the covenant. Right? And then that gets passed down to who Abraham favors more, right? It just so happened that they both went together because his oldest son, he out the door anyway, so he only got one son really that's living with him, right? So both went to him. Then Isaac come along. Isaac is ready to pass it through. Now let's look at this. Keep going. He said these 2 times.
He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing.
Right? So he took the birthright. Isaac was about to hand this down. But who got the birthright now?
Jacob.
Jacob, because he took it from, or Esau gave it to him as a result of the situation that he was in. So Esau gave it to Jacob. He supplanted him when it comes to the birthright. Okay? That has to go to Jacob. So naturally, the blessing would have gone to the person that the father favored more, right? Isaac favored Esau more. The blessing would have gone to him. Right? So now Jacob came and stole the blessing too. So Esau is left with nothing that would go at the top of the line. Usually if you one of these 2 you can get at the top of the line, he was left with nothing. It's not as important as what we're reading now. But understanding that concept is going to make a lot more sense when it comes to when Jacob hands down his birthright and blessings. He's going to have blessings. You can have blessings for anybody. Usually the one you favor more is going to have that best blessing. And you're going to see how it pops out. You know what I'm saying? How it plays out this way. Let's go.
And he said, Has not thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him your lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto you, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father?
I mean, you only got one blessing. You ain't got more than one blessing. You can't just spread that thing around a little bit. Give me something. Look at it. Give him something.
Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Keep going.
And Isaac his father, Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
Okay.
And by the sword shall you live, and shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass, when you shall have the dominion, that you shall break his yoke from off your neck.
Okay.
And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand.
So listen, Esau knew that his dad was dying soon. Right? So he's saying basically, the day for my dad's death is at hand. I ain't gonna kill my brother while my dad is alive. In other words, that's what he's saying. I'm not gonna kill my brother while my dad is alive. That'd just be wrong. But I'm gonna kill this boy. He stole my darn blessing right up under my nose. He already tricked me out of my darn birthright, and the boy gonna take my blessing right up under my nose. I'm gonna kill this dude. Watch what happened though.
Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah.
Right? So now somebody heard Esau saying this. Right? And then they told it to Rebekah. They told it to Esau's mama. And watch what Esau's mama said.
And she sit and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, your brother Esau, as touching you, does comfort himself, purposing to kill you.
Right? So she went to Jacob, and she was like, listen, he making himself feel better by the idea that he's going to kill you. You know, sometimes we tell ourselves stuff to make ourselves feel better. Like some people, when we have a death in the family, we be like, oh, they looking down on the brother. So we might tell ourselves like a complete lie because it feels better. It makes you feel better. You know what I'm saying? But in this case, what made him feel better is the thought that I'm going to kill this dude. I'm mad about my birthright. You know what made me feel better about being mad at my birthright and mad about my blessing? Is I'm going to kill him for that. Right? Mom's got wind of that. You got to understand it's a different time. Right? It's a different time. It ain't like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like now where kids just be on TikTok all day. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you catch a kid in the backyard, you know what I'm saying, chopping heads off of snakes and rats and, you know what I'm saying, that's all they doing all day. You just catch them. You always catch them in the backyard with a dead animal and just chopping their head off. What you going to think about that kid?
Serial killer when they get older.
They going to say serial killer, right? So it's a different time. All the kids was out there hunting and killing animals. Not just kids. Everybody is dealing with animals that are dead. That you have to kill yourself with your own hands. So we kind of look at it like, oh my gosh, you would kill your brother. Right? But because it's a different time and you're dealing with, like this, everybody knows, and like for these kids and all that they may not realize that that's in their hands. Like, oh, I can kill somebody. Like that's but you got to understand, I'm dealing with death. Not necessarily humans, but of animals daily. You know what I'm saying? Or weekly, or however often we eat meat. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't have the money all the time, maybe you eat meat a little less. You know what I'm saying? But however often you eat meat, you see it. That's an occasion for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh no, I'll snap his neck. You know what I'm saying? I'll slice him across, let him bleed out after that. You know what I'm saying? That's a process. You see that all the time. So then slicing somebody's neck and letting them bleed out, that part don't affect. Like for us, that'll affect us. The blood gushing out. We look at it like, oh, immediately, I'm passing out. You know what I'm saying? I'm passing out every time. You know what I'm saying? But them boy back then, but you know what I'm saying? We had to do that. That was the day to day. So the part of it that had to affect us is just like, I'm not supposed to do that. It's not that I'm squeamish and I can't handle it, or I don't know exactly what to do. Like, nah, I slit your neck just like I slit this animal, this donkey's neck, or this, you know what I'm saying, whatever neck. That thing happened the same way for me. I stab you just like I stabbed that darn cat. You know what I'm saying? That thing happened the same way. The only thing to keep me from doing it, looking at Esau's eyes, is I'm just not supposed to do that. My papa wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? My papa wouldn't approve of nothing like that. It's in my hands to do it. My pop shit wouldn't approve. So that's why he say, the day of mourning for my dad. In other words, my dad about to die. And after he do, I'm gonna get that butt. Right? So moms know he with it. That's why she bring it to him like, listen, man, he comforted himself talking about killing him, but let me tell you what to do. Watch what mom say.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise. Flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran.
So you remember Laban, that was her brother. So you remember when the servant of Abraham went out to look for Isaac a wife, he went out there and he met her, and she took him to Laban, her brother, and the rest of the family, right? So now she like, listen, go to my brother's house. And what you gonna do over there?
And tarry with him a few days until your brother's fury turn away.
Go ahead and stay with him a couple days. How long?
Until your brother's fury turn away.
No, how long?
A few days.
A few days. That's in her mind. Just go out there a couple weeks, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Just go out there a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Take a little vacation and come on back. That's in her mind. Now we know how long Jacob ended up staying out there. It's important for us to understand the context because it's a lot that's about to happen, right? So go on out there a few days, you know what I'm saying? Go see what they talking about. You know what I'm saying? Let your brother cool off. You know what I'm saying? That boy hot. You know what I'm saying? Let him cool off a little bit. You know how he is. Because basically what she describing is he's emotional, right? So it's like, you know how he is. That's why he gave us the birthright, because in that moment, he just looking like, man, listen, man, I'm hungry. I don't care nothing about no darn, I ain't thinking strategically, I ain't thinking in the future. Care nothing about no darn birthright right now. Give me them darn lentils. You know what I'm saying? Give me, I'm darn hungry. Give me that red darn soup. You know what I'm saying? Give me that Edom. You know what I'm saying? That's what they start calling him Edom. That boy ate that thing. Right? It was all about his belly in the moment. Right? Jacob, on the other hand, is thinking future. He's thinking long term. He thinking, you know what I'm saying, this, that, another, and he conniving to get what he want. You know what I'm saying? He make it happen. You know what I'm saying? That boy just, you know what I'm saying, so he's emotional. He's in the moment. So in that moment, I want to kill him. Mom know that about, I'm cool. You know how he is. I'm cool. A couple days, come on back. He'll be over. Right? Let's see. Keep going.
Until your brother's anger turn away from you, and he forget that which you have done to him, then I will send and fetch you from there. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth.
Why should I be deprived of you both in one day? What does that mean?
Jacob about to die.
And who else?
And her. Well, Jacob if he stay, and Isaac.
No, she talking about Isaac. I mean, she talking about Jacob and Esau. She's saying Esau mess around and kill you. If Esau kill you, that boy dead. Right? That's what she's saying. She is like, it don't make no sense for him to kill you, and then I have to get somebody to kill him. Right? Because that's the judgment of it. We already heard from Noah, if you kill a man, what got to happen? Noah, that's already handed down. That's law. Right? So that's the judgment of it. He's looking like, I mess around and lose both of y'all in one day. That don't make no sense. So she's trying to keep one son from doing something that's going to get him in trouble, and she's trying to keep the son she loved from dying. She's like, just separate, just going out there. We know what we did. Going out there, stay for a couple days, wait, let him cool out. You know how he is. We'll figure that out, right? Let's see, keep going.
I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob take a wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these, which are of the daughters of the land, what good shall my life do to me?
Right, so you see where Jacob get it from. This is mom. She talked to Jacob. She like, Jacob, this is what you need to do. Go in there, stay a couple days. When he cool off, I'll fetch for you, right? Then she go to Isaac, and she like, Isaac, I'm weary of my life. I just don't want Jacob to get a daughter of the daughter of Heth, you know what I'm saying, the Canaanites. I don't want that to happen. He needs to have a daughter from somewhere else. So she created the scenario to allow him to go down there. Let's see what happens.
And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, that you may inherit the land where you are a stranger.
Right? So he has the birthright, and he has the blessing of what? Of who?
Abraham.
He has the blessing of Abraham. Those are two separate things. There's the birthright that comes with something, and we'll talk about what it comes with later, right? And then there's the blessing of Abraham. That blessing of Abraham is what gets passed down. That's what gets passed down all the way to guess who?
Yahushua.
All the way to Yahushua, right? That goes from here to David all the way to Yahushua. That blessing gets passed down, right? So that's what we're looking for. That's the one we're tracking to get to Yahushua. Then you got the birthright. And we're going to talk about where that ends up, right? Let's see, keep going.
Which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob and went to Padan Aram, and he went to Padan Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from there, in that as he blessed him, he gave him charge, saying, "You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan." In that Jacob obeyed his father and mother and was gone to Padan Aram.
Jump over to what chapter is it?
28.
28. Jump over to 29. So what happens after this is Jacob ends up having a vision. You know what I'm saying? That ends up he created the place, or he named the place Bethel after he had the vision. We gonna come back to that vision because it's important, but we're gonna skip it for right now. This is chapter 29.
Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it.
Look at that.
For out of that well they watered the flocks.
Right, so they had watering the flocks of the sheep. Remember, before it was camels that they was looking at, but now they water in the flocks of the sheep. Watch this.
And a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And there were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we.
Right? Basically, he said, My brethren, where y'all from? He said, Man, we from Haran. Watch it.
And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor?
Right? Do you know who Laban is? Let's see.
And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter comes with the sheep.
Yeah, that's his girl right there. That's his baby girl right there. Right there, like, yeah, we know him. Is he well? Yeah, he good. Oh, that's his baby girl, that's his daughter right there. Right? Watch this.
And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together.
Y'all thought Isaac's servant moved fast? Watch Jacob put the work in. This boy good. Watch this.
Lo, it is high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together.
Right? He put it together already. Remember, we had speculating like, I don't know if, what's her name, Rebecca, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if Rebecca, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if she is just coming out there really trying to do some camels, or she saw, you know what I'm saying, something out there she wanted to see about, you know what I'm saying? So we had speculated. This boy Jacob put it together already. He's like, it ain't even time to be doing this. You know what I'm saying? He's looking like, this ain't even the appropriate time to be watching off these sheep. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see.
Water ye the sheep and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth.
That boy said, no, don't worry. Listen, these boys been waiting for somebody to roll this stone the whole time. Right? Jacob said, it ain't even time to be, you know what I'm saying, watering the sheep. Why don't y'all go somewhere? He put this whole thing together already. He's like, why don't y'all just go somewhere? It ain't even time for that. As soon as Rachel pull up, you gotta watch some sheep. Stone roll. You know what I'm talking about? What you mean? Go ahead and water that sheep. Watch this.
And watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice.
He did what now?
Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice.
You see how fast that boy moved? He looked like, oh, well, hey, you know what I'm saying? Your sheep water, how you doing? I'll give you a little kiss. You know what I'm saying? Jacob kissed Rachel, and then what else happened?
He lifted up his voice and wept.
That boy started crying. He knew. He was like, man, I found it. This is it.
And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father.
Look, Rachel was happy about that thing too. You kidding me? Seriously? Because we, as our people, we are looking like, man, look, I just want to stay within. I ain't trying to mess with none of these weirdos out here. We got to stay within our family, right? So we're like, okay, for sure. She's like, you my cousin. Seriously? Let me go run tell my daddy I might got me a husband now. So she's running back to go, you know what I'm saying, let her dad know. Watch this.
And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said unto him, Surely you are my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month.
That's right.
And Laban said unto Jacob, Because you are my brother, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall your wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel.
Right? So just to understand what just happened, Jacob liked Rachel, They're kissing, you know what I'm saying? So they already, you know what I'm saying, feeling each other and dating pretty much, right? He stayed down there a month because that's what his mama told him to do. Go stay down there for a couple of days and I'll call you. You know what I'm saying? I'll call you when it's time to come back. I'll fetch for you. You know what I'm saying? When I see your brother cool off, you know how he is. I'll fetch for you. So he stayed down there for a month. When he's staying down there, clearly he's not just a lazy man. He getting to it. So he helping out. He working. And Laban said, man, hey, look, you've been here for a month. It don't make no sense for you to be doing all this stuff for me for free. Tell me what you want. Right? Well, Laban is conniving too. Right? That whole family, like that's where he poured it from. So he conniving too. He looking at it like, you know what I'm saying, what you want. Because on the other hand, he's like, as soon as you tell me what you want, that's when I'm going to get what I want. You know what I'm saying? So here goes the negotiation.
And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel.
Uh-huh.
Now, Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored.
Goodness gracious. What that mean?
Yeah, Rachel was pretty and all, but no, Leah was pretty and all, but Rachel was fine.
Yeah, but that makes you tender-eyed. That mean easy on the eye. You know what I'm saying? Look, Leah? Oh, she easy on the eye. She ain't hard to look at. That's what I'm saying. She ain't hard to look at. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's a good-looking girl. You know what I'm saying? Hey, she ain't hard to look at. Let me tell you something about Rachel. You know what I'm saying? No. Leah's nice. You know what I'm saying? She's nice. But let me tell you something about Rachel. He tell me, Rachel, though? She's Louise. You know what I'm saying? Rachel got it. Leah nice now. Mine just bigger, all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Boy said, you ain't pulled nice, but mine just bigger, is all I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about? That's how it go. Let's see what happened here.
And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter.
Right, so that he asked him, what is your wage? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You can't just work for me for free. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying? Name your price. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, listen, I'll tell you what. I'll work for you for 7 years. You give me your daughter. Right? You give me your daughter, I'll do 7 years. He threw it out there, 7 years. Let's go.
And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Mm-hmm. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days.
Right? He said, I'll work 7 years. Listen, they already getting along. He having the time of his life. He escaping his brother. It's all good. He looking like, man, this thing just look like a few days for me. It ain't nothing. That thing ain't nothing. It ain't even a big deal. Watch this.
For the love he had to her.
Uh-huh.
And Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her.
All right, so he did it 7 days. He said, give me my wife. You know what I'm saying?
7 years.
7 years. He said, give me my wife. Let's go ahead and make this happen. Watch this.
And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. Mm-hmm. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid. Mm-hmm. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this that you have done unto me? Did I not serve you for Rachel?
So he ended up sleeping with the woman he wanted, her older sister, right? Because they snuck him in the evening.
How do you not know? It was dark in there.
Yeah, because it's dark. And you gotta understand, like, this is a situation where, you know, like, okay, when Rebecca first saw Isaac, what happened?
And she got off her horse. She got off her camel, and you know what I'm saying?
She put a veil over her face. Yeah. Right? So it's likely that when he's dealing with Rachel, that's what he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You see, he threw out 7 years first. That means he already knew Pops wasn't going for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Pops was probably like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You hang around, you better relax. With my daughter, though. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? The first thing he threw out, according to the word, was 7 years. That's a huge number. You know what I'm saying? That's not no small task. Usually you just give him a little dowry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 7 years of work for it. It's like, all right. Make more sense to giving you, you know what I'm saying? You gonna work for 7 years? Make more sense to give it to you than somebody else. You know what I'm talking about? That's how he's looking at it. Right? So it's very possible that he's not even in a way that he's like completely close or dealing with it. Then you gotta deal with the heat of the moment. It's dark. It ain't like dark here, you know what I'm saying? We got street lights. No. It's evening dark. You know what I'm saying? Going in the tent. You know, Laban probably made it extra dark. You know what I'm saying? Go sit your butt in the tent. Don't worry about it. Bring her out. You know what I'm saying? And he walk her in there. And you just gotta imagine, you know what I'm saying? This is your first time. You ready? You You know what I'm saying? You just rocking back and forth.
It's been 7 years.
When she walked through that, you know what I'm saying? When she peeled that little cloth back, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? So she come in, he probably nailed her to the darn wall and bow. You know what I'm saying? Then next thing you know, he wake up. The sun shine, he ain't thinking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? The sun darn starts shining. Why you darn do this to me? This darn Leah. I said Rachel. And watch what the boy did to him.
And it came to pass in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this that you have done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why then have you beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn.
He's like, no, this is standard protocol. You know, I didn't tell you nothing about this, but this standard protocol, it don't make no sense for me to give you.
He just knew
younger
he just knew he was gonna work for another 7 years.
He knew he was gonna do it. Listen, you got somebody that started off the negotiation with 7 years. He said, you really like her, don't you?
Yeah, that's what Most High God dealt with that, and it was like 7 years. You know what I'm saying? You let him go.
That's why, absolutely. That's a very important thing, because everything that we see in here, we gonna see laws that are created to correct some of the things that have been happening. Remember, at this point, they don't have all the laws. They just doing stuff. So we gonna see when Moses come along, it's gonna be a whole lot of laws. And who's telling us about all these stories?
Moses.
So that's why it's important. That's why we started off talking about Genesis. Moses had to give this context. Otherwise, when he start giving these laws, people start thinking like these Christians, like, man, it's just burdensome, the law, and the law was made to hold you down. That's how they think about the law. They think of a law as a big burden. It's like, no, that's not what this is. There's order that's necessary for the people of God. And he's trying to let you know, like, okay, well, these are some of the events that happened. These are some of the mistakes. These are some of the challenges. This is some of the stuff that happened. Let me help you out. Here's a law against that. Here's a law against that. Here's a law to prevent that. Because now we're going to have order to prevent some of these things. Right? Let's keep going.
Fulfill her week, and we will give you this also for the service which you shall serve with me yet 7 other years.
Right? So he said, listen, it don't make sense for me to give you Rachel before Leah. So I'm going to go ahead and give you Leah. You know what I'm saying? You take Leah, but you go ahead and serve another 7 years for Rachel, and you know what I'm saying? You can get her too. Right? What the boy do?
And Jacob did so and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah his handmaid to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years.
Okay.
And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, surely the Lord has looked upon my affliction. Now, therefore, my husband will love me.
Right? So now, at this point, she had a son. And who had the first son?
Leah.
So Leah had the first son. Right? Give me a second here. I'm going to try to pull it up so we can look at all the kids. Leah had the first son. How do you think that made Rachel feel?
A little upset.
Keep reading. Watch this. So she had the first son. His name was Reuben.
And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord has heard that I was hated, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon.
So Rachel couldn't have babies, right? Then Leah was like, because the Most High God heard that I was hated. In other words, he loved Rachel more than me. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High God see that he loved Rachel more than me, he gave me my first kid and this second one also, right? So she put it out there. And how you think that make Rachel feel? Rachel got to feel like, oh, man, that's a mess. So now, if we look, we saw that Pops gave them, hold on, let me see here. See if I can get this on the screen. Pops gave them, let's go into the wrong one. Let me see here. How do I display? Duplicate essential. Oh, somebody in trouble.
play and throw up on my floor? What do you mean you forgot?
Give me a belt.
That's crazy. Y'all go sit down in the Bible study room so I can put it up. Yeah. Go.
So I'm gonna have to put it right here. I don't know why it's not working the way I wanted to.
That don't make no sense.
Sit back.
So here, as you can see, we had the sons, right? So it starts off with Leah. She has 4 sons back to back, right? Or it's described back to back. First one, Reuben. Then you have Simeon. Then you have Levi. And then you have Judah. We all know who, you know what I'm saying? We all know about Judah at the very least, right? So those are all Leah's sons, right? Jacob loves Rachel. That's who he served all those 14 years for. The first 7 he served for Rachel. Found out that he got Leah, so he served another 7 for Rachel. So he served 14 years for Rachel. That's the one he wants, right? At this point, she don't have no kids. So then Rachel was given a servant. Her servant was Bilhah, right? Bilhah had a son next because Rachel was like, listen, I can't have kids clearly, but maybe my servant can have kids through me, right? Or I can have kids through them rather, right? So she said, go ahead, go in onto her, and then, you know what I'm saying, we'll have some kids that way. So she ended up having Dan and Naphtali through her servant, right? After that, Leah was like, oh, well, I got a darn servant too. So you see, that's 5 and 6, 7, 8 come right after that. So that's Zilpah, who is Leah's servant. She was like, go ahead. I can't have no more, you know what I'm saying? I'm not having no more kids. Zilpah, you go ahead and have some, right? So then she had 2 through her, Gad and Asher, right? Then after that, you know what I'm saying? Reuben, Leah's son, he running out, you know what I'm saying? He picking mandrakes. He picking up mandrakes, you know what I'm saying? And while picking them up, you know what I'm saying? Rachel spot him. You know what I'm saying? She looking like, Leah, give me some of your son's mandrakes. And she is like, oh, you take my husband from me? And now you gonna take my son's mandrakes too? That's what she said to her. You take my husband, you gonna take my son's mandrakes too? You know what I'm saying? And after that, she was like, I tell you what, you give me the mandrakes and he'll sleep with you tonight. You know what I'm talking about? She's like, deal, give her the mandrakes. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Then that happened. Then you get Issachar out of that situation. And the next one was Zebulun. So now, all of it is stacked. Rachel doesn't have 1 kid from herself. She only got 2 kids through her servant, right? Then later on, this whole time, this through that 7-year period, right? So this through that 7-year period, this is all going on. Then after a while, right at the end of that 7-year period, guess what happened? Rachel finally get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Ignore that last one, Benjamin. She get pregnant with Joseph, right? And guess what happened right after she get pregnant with Joseph?
She died.
No, she don't die. That boy Jacob say, time to go back home. Because it don't say it explicitly right here. It does say it later. But it don't say it explicitly right here. That's what he been waiting for. He ain't been waiting. All these other kids, I love my kids. You know, don't get me wrong. But my baby had my baby.
She died with Benjamin. That's what that was.
Oh, it's time. After that, he like, I need to go back home. It's time for me. I've been out here 14 years, y'all. It's time for me to go back home. Grab, what chapter we in right now?
29.
29? Let's go ahead and skip over to 30. This is chapter 30. Look down for, find for me where Joseph is born. It should be maybe towards the middle.
You said 30?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 22.
Okay.
And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened up her womb. And she conceived and bare a son and said, God has taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph and said, the Lord shall add to me another son.
Right? So it's important that we go through this way so we can see that his wife that he served 14 years for never had any children herself, right? 14 years into this, right? She ends up having one kid. And watch what he says after that.
And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away that I may go into my own place.
I'm ready to go home now. You got to imagine how satisfied he felt. Like, finally, this is my boy now. You know what I'm talking about? This it. Finally, let's go. I'm ready to go now, right? Keep going. Watch this.
Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for you know my service which I have done thee. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, I have found favor in thine eyes. Tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake.
Right? So he said, listen, I learned by experience. Most High God only blessed me because you here. He's like, man, I've been doing great since your bubble. He is honest with it. He's like, listen, just, you know what I'm saying, hang out with me, let me know. Listen, I already know the only reason I'm getting it like this is because the Most High God is blessing you.
Same thing with this country.
Same exact thing with this country and everywhere else we go, right? Keep going, watch this.
And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it.
He said, listen, you just tell me what you want, and I'll give it. Same trick, ain't it? Same trick, like I want you, you know what I'm saying? You tell me what you want, and I'm going to use that against you somehow, right? So watch what happens.
And he said unto him, you know how I have served thee, and how thy cattle was with me.
Right? This is Jacob talking. So Jacob's saying, okay, Laban, I give you my wages, so you know how I get down. You know how I serve you. You know how your cattle was with me. And what else happened?
For it was little which thou had before I came, and now it's increased unto a multitude, and the Lord has blessed you since my coming.
Right? He said, you didn't have nothing but a little cattle when I came, and now you got a multitude of darn cattle. Cattle darn everywhere. Watch this.
And now, when shall I provide for my own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, you shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flock.
Right? So he said, what the point that Jacob is trying to make is he being strategic too. He's looking like, listen, you had a little bit of cattle when I got here. I didn't increase your cattle. Now you got cattle every darn where. Right? I tell you what, Laban tried to jump in there like, what do you want? You want me to give you some cattle? Jacob's like, no, I know better than that. I don't want you to give me anything. This is what's going to happen. Watch this.
I will pass through all my flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire.
So he's saying, just let me go through the cattle of what's there, right? I'm going to keep them. I'm going to take care of them. But of which that comes out with the blemishes, I'll take the ones with the blemishes. You take all the clean ones. I'm going to take anything that come out with a blemish, right? And he said, and based off of that, at the end of this period, that is going to be my hire. In other words, that's what's going to be my payment, right? Watch this.
So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me.
Right? He said, if I walk away from here with anything that ain't got a spot or a speckle on it, right? Then that means I stole it. In other words, that means it belonged to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm only taking the ones that got blemishes on them, right? So that seemed like a good deal to Laban. But watch what Laban does.
And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word.
He said, listen, I like that deal, but watch what Laban do.
And he removed that day the he-goats that were arrayed, sanked, and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks.
Right? So then Laban, he cheated by taking all of the blemished cattle, and he took them away. So now, only thing that Jacob has to work with is the ones that don't have blemishes, which means technically none of those would be Jacob. So watch what happens.
And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and and peeled white stakes in them, and made them white appear, which was in the rods.
So
Made
he
the white
peeled,
appear, which in the
he took a
rods.
stick, a certain type of stick, and he peeled it. He peeled it back to where the white of the wood was on the inside of it, right? Keep going, watch this.
And he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink.
So now, then he stuck it into the ground where it was where they drink their water at, and they came by when they drink the water. You know what I'm saying? They could see this rod that was peeled back to the white of the wood. Watch this.
And the flocks conceived before the rods and brought forth cattle, ring-sanked, speckled, and spotted.
So now the flock, which was all without blemish, right? All one individual color. Whenever they came before these rods and drank their water, and they ended up mating, you know what I'm saying, and having babies, the babies came out speckled and spotted. They came out with the blemishes. And that means that those are the ones that Jacob owns. So now when Laban did it, he tried to remove anything that got that DNA that might pass down a blemish, right? Thinking that if he did that, he would just be stuck keeping his cattle forever and he would never get any payment out of it. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't work out that way. So Laban tried that, but now they start having babies because of this rod that was peeled back. For some reason, they just start having babies. He's going to explain it in a little bit, but watch this.
And Jacob did separate the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring-sanked and all the brown of the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods.
Right? So he said, basically, he was looking at the strong cattle. He was like, oh, that one look nice and strong right there. Oh, they about to have a baby? So he had put the rod in front of him because he knew whenever that rod was put in front of him, they going to mess around and have a baby, one with a blemish. So he kept on making them have blemishes based off of the strength of the cattle. So he going to end up with all the strong cattle and ain't going to be nothing good left. Watch this.
But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's and the stronger Jacob's.
The feeble, it just mean weak. So he's in the weak ones he left, and then the ones that were strong, he made it set to be his. Watch this.
And the man increased exceedingly and had much cattle and maidservants and manservants and camels and donkeys. And he heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and all that which our father's has he gotten all this glory.
Right? So they looked at it, and they're looking like, now everything, all the strong cattle, all the good stuff belong to Jacob now because they got blemishes on them. It just switched up. So then it's almost like, from their point of view, it's like, oh, Jacob just robbed us. I don't know how he did it, but that boy robbed us. We ain't got nothing, and now he got everything. He got servants. He got everything now. Right? He robbed us. Let's see what happened.
And Jacob beheld the countenance of Laban, and behold, it was not toward him as before. And the Lord said unto Jacob, return unto the land of thy fathers and thy kindred, and I will be with thee. And Jacob sent and called
That's
Rachel.
the Most High
and
God
Leah.
telling Jacob, like, it's time to go home now. Watch this.
And Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field unto his flock, and said unto them, I see your father's countenance that is not toward me as before, but the God of my father has been with me.
Right? So he's saying, basically, I see your father's countenance. In other words, your father ain't too happy with me. I can look it in his face. I can tell he ain't too happy with me right now. So he's like, listen, the Most High God came and told me it's time to go. Right? So remember, this is Leah and Rachel's dad, and they living with their dad. They all staying on their dad's property right now. Right? So he's asking them to get up and kind of go out of their comfort zone. Let's see what happens.
And you know that with all my power I have served your father. And your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. But God suffered him
Books say
not to
10
hurt
times. We ain't count all 10, but that just means other stuff was happening. Right? So he said it changed his wages 10 times.
But God suffered him not to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckle shall be thy wages, then all the cattle bear speckle. And if he said thus, the rainsank shall be thy hire, then bear all the cattle rainsank. Thus God has taken away the cattle of your father and given them to me. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived that I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ransanked, speckled, and grizzled.
So now you see the Most High God gave him that strategy through a vision. Most High God showed him, he was like, listen, I saw a vision that, you know what I'm saying, when they conceived, you know what I'm saying, under this rod, that's how it went. So that's how he ended up pulling it off that way, and that's how he had that plan for Laban, because he saw it in a vision, and he trusted the Most High God with it. Keep going. Watch this.
And the angel of God spoke unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I. And he said, Lift up now thy eyes and see. All the rams which leap upon the cattle are rain saints, speckled and gristled. For I have seen all that Laban does unto thee. And I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you vowed a vow unto me. Now arise.
So this is the chapter that we skipped, but he's basically saying, I'm that God that you just saw when you had that vision of a ladder. You know what I'm saying? We didn't read it, but he had a vision of that ladder and angels going up and down. You know what I'm saying? And you named the place Bethel and you set up an altar. He's like, I'm that God, right? He said, I'm that same God. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, he made a deal with God. He said, listen, as long as you give me clothes and you give me food, you know what I'm saying? I got you. I'm going to do what you say. That was his commitment that he made to the Most High God. So he's referring back saying, listen, I am that God. I'm that one you made an agreement with. Trust me then. Right? Watch this.
Now get thee out from this land and return to the land of thy kindred.
Watch this.
And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him,
Watch this.
Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house?
He took everything from Laban at this point. So the women are looking like, sure, we might have gotten the inheritance. All this stuff would have been ours, but it ain't nothing left now. So she's looking like, what are we going to stay here for? Right? Let's see. Keep going.
Are we not counted of him strangers? For he has sold us and has quite devoured also our money. For all the riches which God has taken from our father, that is ours and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God has said unto thee, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padan Aram, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. And Laban went to shear. Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not that he fled. So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river and set his face toward the Mount Gilead. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled. And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead.
Right? So Laban went chasing after him after they left. He got all this stuff together, and he was like, listen, I'm going. Jacob got all this stuff together, got his family together. He said, man, I'm just out of here. He just left. Didn't say nothing to nobody, just left. So Laban heard about it, and he got, about 3 days away, and it took him about 7 days to catch up with him. So he caught up with him. What else happened?
And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said unto him, Take heed that you speak not to Jacob either good or bad.
Right? So the Most High God talked to Laban, was like, you shut your mouth. Don't say nothing to him. Right? Let's see what's happened.
Then Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the Mount of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done that you have stolen away unawares to me and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword?
Right? So from Laban's position, he just looking like, you just left. You know what I'm saying? You took my family from me. Ain't nobody say nothing to me. What have you done? Let's see what happened.
Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and did not tell me, that I might have sent you away with happiness,
Right?
and with songs, and with tabret, and with harp?
He said it could have been a celebration. Watch this. Keep
And
going.
has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters.
Right? He's like, man, these are my kids. You know what I'm saying? These are my grandsons. You know what I'm saying? This is my daughters. You don't even let me kiss them. So Laban, he's looking at it, he presenting it at least from that point of view, right? We'll see what happened next.
Thou hast now done foolishly in so doing. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But
He said, listen, I can beat your darn butt right now. I got all my boys with me. It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt. But what?
But the God of your father spoke unto me yesternight, saying, Take heed that you speak not to Jacob either good or bad.
He said, I can't say nothing. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out. Most High God told me I can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what happened.
And now, though you would needs be gone, because you soared longest after thy father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my gods?
Right? So he's like, I just want one thing. What'd you do with my darn idols? You know what I'm saying? Like look, somebody got my darn idols. What'd y'all do with my darn idols? Let's hear about it.
And Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure you would take by force your daughters from me. With whomsoever you find thy gods, let him not live. Before our brethren, discern thou what is thine with me, and take it to thee. For Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them.
Right? He said, man, I don't know nothing about no idols. I ain't take nobody idol. He was like, matter of fact, you just check around. Whoever you find these idols with, you can kill them. He didn't know that Rachel took the idols. But watch how they pull it off.
And Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee, for the custom of women is upon me.
And so she is like, look, I'm on my cycle. You know what I'm saying? It's underneath me. I'm on my cycle though, so don't make me get up. Right? But she had the images, she had the idols right under there, right? Let's see.
And he searched but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said unto Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued after me?
Right? He's mad right now because he's looking at, look, this is the situation. I go out and I just leave because I feel cheated. I can see that y'all getting mad at me. Your boy's starting to trip with me. I can see y'all starting to want to fight. And that's not what I'm trying to do. So I just leave. I take everything with me. But I'm the man now. Like, I got all the riches. So when I leave, guess what leave with me? All my cattle, all the sons, all the servants, everything that he got. So it's a lot that just left. Laban looking like, bro, I thought we was in this together. Now I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, man, rally up the truth. Let's go see about this boy. So he go chase him down. From Jacob's point of view, you cheated me for 14 years.
20.
Then added another 6 on it after I addressed that with you. Right? And now I'm just like, I'm just out of here. Every time I try to talk to you about leaving, something happened. There's some trick to it. He's like, man, I'm just out of here. So now you chasing me down like I done something to you. Then you accuse me of taking your idol. Now, Jacob didn't know they really did take it. But from his point of view, he's like, man, check. Look anywhere you want, and whoever got it, you kill him. Because he confident I don't have your idol. Then he look around, Laban look around, and can't find the idol. Right? So that's what makes Jacob flip out. He was like, man, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I ain't got your darn idol. The whole time you've been watch what we're about to read and look at it from that point of view. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what he's tripping right now. He's mad like, what are you bringing all this drama to me for? I'm just trying to go home. You always got some type of something in your, you know what I'm saying? Some trick up your darn sleeve. I ain't got your darn idols. Watch this.
And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that you have so hotly pursued after me? Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all your household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren.
Are you wasting my time?
Between us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Your ewes and your she-goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten. That which was torn of beast I brought not unto thee.
He said, look,
the loss of it.
He said, look, I'm keeping the cattle. If a wolf, if a tiger, or a lion, if some come here and get one of these cattle, I don't coming back to you like, man, they ate it up. My bad. He said, I'll take that out my loss. I'll take that out my darn pocket. I ain't never cheated you. Right? And you hotly pursuing me like I'm doing something to you. He mad, right? Keep going, watch this.
Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night? Thus I was, and the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes.
He said, I worked hard for you.
Thus have I been 20 years in your house. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your cattle. And you have changed my wages 10 times.
He said, every time you switch it up on me.
Except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely you have sent me away now empty.
He said, listen, you took all of the ones with blemishes out secretly before I could keep the sheep, just to leave me with nothing. He said, surely, had it not been for the Most High God, I would be leaving here for nothing. But the man turned it around and made it so I'm leaving here with everything and you got nothing. Watch this.
God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you yesternight. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters and these children are my children.
But Laban mad too. Look, you have to look at the, you know what I'm saying? You have to look at this, you know what I'm saying, this heated argument. He looking like, you chasing me like I did something to you, Laban. I never done anything. You the one that cheated me. Laban ain't got no point there. So what Laban gonna come back with? Laban got a point where it's, bro, this is my family and you just up and leave without saying nothing? So he's looking, he's like, these are my daughters. These are my sons. And you just taking them. Go ahead.
These daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children. And these cattle are my cattle, and all that you see is mine.
He's like, all this stuff is, like, where you think you got all this from, boy? All this stuff is mine. You can't just get up and walk away. Let's see.
And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have born?
Right? He looking like, man, I ain't trying to hurt you. This is my family we talking about. I ain't trying to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? But Laban's just trying to get a little deal. Like, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you know what I'm saying? Let's relax. Everybody just relax. That's what Laban trying to say now. Let's see.
Now therefore came thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap. And they did eat there upon the heap. And Laban called it Jager Shahadutha.
So notice they made a covenant, and as part of that covenant, what do they have to do?
Eat.
They have to eat to seal the covenant. That's part of the custom. That's important. It ain't so important right now, but it's going to be important later. Keep going.
But Jacob called it Gilead. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent from one another. If you shall afflict my daughters, or if you shall take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness between me and you. And Laban said to Jacob, behold, this heap, and behold this pillar, which I have cast between me and you. This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and that you shall not pass over this heap unto me for harm.
Hurt, right? For harm. All right, so he's saying basically, he's not saying that we can't come visit each other. He's just saying, look, there's going to be a witness that neither one of us going to try to pass over to try to hate each other, try to hurt each other, try to do nothing to one another, right? Keep going, watch this.
The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac. And Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread, and they did eat, and they tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning.
So for the covenant, there's always going to be a couple pieces. There's going to be the commitment, right? You know what I'm saying? You're going to have some promises behind it. So there's always going to be the promise. That's the first thing. There's always going to be blood sacrifice, right? So you see that he just made a sacrifice, and you always got to seal the deal with a meal, right? You got to eat, right? Those are the three marks of a covenant. There's promises, there's a sacrifice, and there's a meal, right? So that's I don't know if this is the first one that we saw between, you know what I'm saying, two individuals or two men, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely the first time we pointed it out in this series. So let's keep going.
And early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed him. And Laban departed and returned to his place.
Keep going. What chapter is this? Chapter 32?
32. And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's host. And he called the name of that place Mahanaim.
All right, so the angels of God met Jacob, and then he is like, man, this is God's host, right? This is God's army. Watch this.
And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom.
Right, so he's going through. I didn't get the map, but he's on his way to get back to Canaan, to where his pops is. Remember, his pops is not dead yet. They thought pops was going to die because pops was old. You know what I'm saying? But he hasn't died yet. So it's been 20 years, pop's still alive. So he's trying to get back to where his pops is, right? On his way back, you have to get past a place called Seir. The place called Seir is what Esau will eventually take over, and that will be, you know what I'm saying, the land of the Edomites, right? So that's where Esau happens to be right now. So he's going back, but he got to pass through Seir. The last time he saw Esau, it was beef, right? So he's thinking in his head, remember, he's strategic. He ain't let that go. He trying to, you know what I'm saying, he making it like, man, buddy might still be, you know what I'm saying, he might still want it. You know what I'm saying? So he's just trying to think through, how do I appease him? So let's look at it. It's important. Got to pay attention to what's happening now.
And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying, thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says thus, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and donkeys, flocks, men servants and women servants. And I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find grace in thy sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to thy brother Esau, and he comes to meet thee, and 400 men with him.
Right? So then they came back. They went to go see Esau. They told him, oh, it's Esau. There's 400 dudes with him too. Right? That gives Jacob that he's coming back for judgment. Right? This is the real thing. We already talked about Esau represents who?
The Mosai? I mean, Yahushua?
Talking about Yahushua. Watch all this line up, right? We talking about judgment. Judgment of who? Jacob. Right? Watch what happens.
And Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him.
He did what?
Divided the people that was with him.
He divided them into what? Keep reading.
And the flocks and the herds and the camels into 2 bands.
Into what?
2 bands.
What does that sound like? Israel. This is, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got his name yet, but his name is Israel. And our people, Israel, ended up being divided into what?
Tribes.
Matter of fact, it was in the tribes, huh? So if we go to, what is it, Zechariah? Zechariah say, you know what I'm saying, there's 2 what?
2 bands.
2 bonds. Mm-hmm. You had the northern and the southern. You had the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. What do you think this is talking about? He said, look, judgment is coming. I'm dividing it into 2. That's the same thing the Most High God did to us. He said, man, look, I'm dividing it into 2. Right? Watch this. Where do you think God got it from? Watch this.
And said, if Esau come to the one company and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape.
Right? When the judgment came by way of the Assyrians, did both of them get it?
No.
Right? Okay, let's see. Keep going.
Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which said unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee.
Listen to the prayer. He identifies the Most High God who he's talking to. He's like, listen, the God that, you know what I'm saying, that was talking to Abraham and the one that talked to my daddy Isaac. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the Most High God that talked to me and told me, yo, Colt, take your butt back home. He's like, I'm talking to you. You told me to go back home. Right? Watch this.
I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which you have showed unto thy servant.
Right? Prayers are important when we read them in the book. First is identification. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to the Most High God. Which Most High God? This is the one. So they use facts to identify him. Right? Then the next thing is exaltation or praise. Right? So he come back. He's like, man, I'm not worthy of all the stuff that you do. That's praise. Right? Watch what he do next.
For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children.
Right? And there's a request. Right? He's saying, after I identify and I give you praise, there's a request. The other piece of a lot of prayers and what we want to have in our prayers is we want to have the Most High God's promise in there as well. Right? This is what you promised me. You know what I'm saying? Now here's my request. Right? This is what your word says. Now here's my request. Keep going.
And thou said, I will surely do thee good and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude.
There go the promise. See that? He made his request before the promise, right? But there it is. You'll always see men of God in the book. You're going to have those 4 elements in there. You're going to have the identification. You're going to have the praise. You're going to have the promise. And you're going to have the request. You know what I'm saying? That's a proper structure of a prayer that we see in the book. Right? Keep going.
And he lodged there that same night and took that of which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother. 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-donkeys and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, pass over before me, and put a space between drove and drove. And he commanded the foremost, saying, when Esau my brother meets you and asks you, saying, whose are these? And whither goest thou, and whose are these before you? Then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also he is behind us.
Right? So what he did is he first separated in two groups. Then he made his prayer. Then after that, he is like, okay, I'm going to take all the stuff I got, or a lot of the stuff I got, and I'm going to give it to Esau as a gift. But I'm going to make it so that it comes to him in droves, like in waves. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to send this group, you take a few cattle, you know what I'm saying? You take it to them, and then you follow after them. A little bit after, you take some cattle. So that basically, I'm just warming them up. As he get closer and closer to me, I'm just warming them up with more and more gifts. So I'm giving them gifts. I'm giving them gifts and warming up. That way, by the time he gets to me, hopefully he'll be pleased and he'll have mercy on me and that he won't judge me. Right? This is worship. This is what we got to do to the Messiah. Because as the Messiah comes back, you know what I'm saying? He coming back for judgment. So we have to make sure that we send in prayers and we send in gifts and we send in obedience to him so that when he get back, he don't judge us. We not part of that judgment. Right? Watch this.
And so commanded he the second and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying, on this manner shall you speak to Esau when you find him. Mm-hmm. And say ye moreover, behold, thy servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept of me. Mm-hmm. So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he arose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. Mm-hmm. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. Mm-hmm. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled the man with him until the breaking of the day.
Right? So he sent his wives and his family over, and then he was alone. And then all of a sudden, the man started wrestling with him. Watch this.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. Right?
So Jacob was wrestling with this man. This man couldn't beat him. And when the man saw he couldn't beat him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. He touched down here in his thigh. And after that, something in the thigh just shriveled up. Book said that the sinews, so the joints that connected, that thing just shriveled up. Watch this.
And he said, let me go, for the day breaks. And he said, I will not let you go except you bless me.
Mm-hmm. So Jacob knew that this wasn't no regular man. He was like, nah, I'm not letting you go unless you bless me. I can see that, you know what I'm saying? I see that, you know what I'm saying, you something special, right? Watch this.
And he said unto him, what is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel.
Right? He said, now your name shall be called Israel.
For as a prince have you power with God and with man, and have prevailed.
All right, now watch what Jacob said.
And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, your name. And he said, why is it that you do ask after my name? And he blessed him there.
Right? He was like, look, it don't make no sense for you to ask my darn name. And after that, he left it alone. That's going to be important later, too. Right? Watch this. Keep going.
And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved.
Right? So now the man that he wrestled with, he felt that he saw God. That's what he said. I've seen God face to face. Right? I don't know who that could be talking about. Right? Let's see. Keep going.
And as he passed over Peniel, the sun arose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh.
Okay.
Therefore, the children of Israel eat not of the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and the sinew that shrank.
Right? So now Moses is giving us context. He's like, this is why we as Israelites don't mess and don't eat with the thigh. Right? If we eat that thigh, this is where it came from, because we had a custom. You know what I'm saying? We leave the thigh, and we leave that on the sacrifice. We'll leave that, you know what I'm saying? We'll leave that part of we'll get to it, but that would be a part of our heave offering. Right? And so we'll start getting to it that, you know what I'm saying, certain sacrifices, you'll take the thigh, and the thigh would be a part of what's called a heave offering. Right? But watch it, he just setting that context, like this is why that happens. He's giving that context to us. Keep going, watch this. That's the end of the chapter? Mm-hmm. We'll be on chapter 33?
Yeah.
We'll read this one, and we'll get out of here.
And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men.
Listen, I love this thing. So now Jacob look up his eyes. It's morning time now. He wrestled with the man overnight. Morning came. His thigh ain't working right now, so he walking with a little limp, you know what I'm saying? That boy walking like this. And everything. Morning came, then all of a sudden he saw Esau. And what happened now? 400 of them boys with him too.
And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the two handmaids.
Right, listen. Then he took his kids, right? And he divided them, right? We got it up there. So he put Leah right here with Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Y'all go right here. He did splitting everybody up. He already split it into 2 bands. Then he starts sending the drove. Then he's like, listen, let's just split everybody up. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. You right here, right? Then Bilhah, you know what I'm saying? You take Dan and Naphtali, you over there. Then after that, I want to look at Zilpah. Zilpah, I want you to take Gad and Asher and you over there. And Rachel. Oh, and then Issachar and Zebulun going over there with Leah, right? But Rachel, you take my boy Joseph, because it's only Joseph at this point. You take my boy Joseph, you go way over there, right? Watch how he line them up. All of this is gonna mean something later, right? All of this is gonna mean something. It's gonna be context that these people do not pay attention to. I know it looked like we just reading through this stuff. I want you to understand these are the things that people don't pay attention to that explains how the book, people look at this book and they don't understand it, don't believe it. And the reason is because they haven't taken the time to understand the detail, the small detail. All the detail is given for a reason. We may not understand it yet, but it's given for a reason. And this is going to kind of explain some of the stuff in the future. You'll see as we go through, we'll refer back to a lot of this stuff. Keep going.
And he put handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost.
Right? So in the front, he put the handmaids and their children. Right? So that's going to get you Gad, Asher, Dan, Naphtali, with Zilpah and Bilhah. Right? They went to the front. Then what else happened?
And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after.
Right? So after them came Leah and her kids. That's going to get you Leah, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Right? They go next. They go after the handmaids. Right? Then who last?
And he passed over, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost.
Right? So as far behind as possible is Rachel and Joseph. Right? Because what he's looking at is, if this man try to get us with his 400 guys, at least they'll have to go through me. Then they'll have to go through Leah and all her sons. And she got the oldest sons, right? So they're going to have to go through all her sons. The handmaids first, then Leah and all her sons. And then hopefully Rachel will be able to get away from there, right? That's how he kind of looking at it. I'm going to put her as far back to get her the best opportunity to get away, right? Because that's the one he loved. So you remember we talked about how she finally had that baby. And then after that, he decided he want to go. This is the reason, because that's the one he loved the most. That's why he put her all the way in the back. That detail is going to be very important in the future, right? Watch this. Keep going.
And he passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother.
All right, so now he passed over before him. This is Jacob. And then Jacob bowed down in front of his brother Esau. How many times?
7 times.
7 times he bowed down in front of his brother. Watch this.
And Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept.
Right, so now he embraced him. Right? So Jacob bowed down to him, but let's see what happens next.
And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, who are those with thee?
Right? Esau looked up and he said, oh, who is all this? You know what I'm saying? Who are these people with you? What happened? Let's see what they do.
He said, the children which God has graciously given thy servant.
Uh-huh.
Then the handmaids came near.
The handmaids came near, and what they do?
They and their children, and they bowed themselves.
They and who?
Their children.
And they did what?
And they bowed themselves.
Oh, good. And then what happened?
And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves.
Okay, hold on. So then Leah came and they bowed too? And then who else?
And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves.
It looked like every knee just bowed.
And the same thing almost too when they with Joseph, ended up having a dream or something, and all of them ended up having to bow down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're gonna get to that too. Where everybody had to bow down to Joseph. Right? But now Esau just made every knee bow. Every head and knee just had to bow. Right? This Yahushua. They're talking about Yahushua. They ain't talking about no darn Esau. They're trying to tell you about what the judgment gonna look like. And what side of it you want to be on? Jacob ended up on the right side. You know what I'm saying? All he did is hug them and kiss them. He had 400 men with him, though. What do you think he is willing to do? You think, when the last time you seen somebody take 400 people with him just to hug and kiss somebody? Jacob's plan worked. He knew his brother was emotional. Let me give you gifts. Let me give you gifts. Let me show you all my kids. Right? Let me bow down to you. Show you that, you know what I'm saying, I have remorse. That I've repented from what I did. All right, I accept it then. It's all the Most High God looking for. He's looking for a little bit of repentance. You don't care nothing about the rest of this stuff. You repented, boy. All right, I'm with you. Let's see what happens.
What meanest thou by all this drove which I met?
He like, man, what you doing? Send me all this stuff, boy. I don't need this stuff. Look, Esau running his own country now. Well, maybe not now, but he about to be running his own country. But I don't need this stuff. I'm doing well too. Most High God, you know, they gave you a nice little blessing through Isaac. He gave me a nice little something too. You know what I'm saying? What I got wasn't bad either now. You know, I thought I was mad, but you know, that thing wasn't bad. You know what I'm saying? That's how he looking at it. Keep going.
And he said, these are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. Mm-hmm. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that you have unto thyself. Mm-hmm. And Jacob said, nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present in my hand. For therefore I have seen your face as though I have seen the face of God.
He said, I've seen your face as though I have seen what?
The face of God.
As though I have seen what?
The face of God. And you.
I'm trying to tell y'all, this is not talking to you about Esau. It's Yahushua we talking about. Man just told you Esau the face of God. This strong meat, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people won't understand this. This strong meat. All right, keep going.
Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God has dealt graciously with me, because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee.
Look, so Esau was like, look, let's go ahead and go together. Don't worry, I'll go in front of you. All right? Watch what Jacob say.
And he said unto him, my Lord knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die.
Yeah, he's like, man, we move too slow for y'all. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I got a bunch of kids with me. You know my kids tender. You know what I'm saying? Mess around, start crying. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying, we got to take a couple breaks. He's like, I don't want to put you through all that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, no. He's like, you going up ahead. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm going to go over here. Watch this.
Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly according to the cattle that goes before me, and the children be able to endure until I come into my Lord unto Seir. Mm-hmm. And Esau said, let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's all right. I'll leave some of my boys. They'll watch over you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He's all like, don't even worry, but I'll leave, you know what I'm saying? I'll leave some of my men with you. They'll watch over you. Watch what Jacob say.
He said,
Jacob been crazy.
And he said, what needeth it?
He's like, no, we don't need no protect. We good. We all right. He said, what needeth it? You know what I'm saying? What happened?
Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. Mm-hmm. So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir, and Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him a house, and made booths for his cattle.
He did what now in Succoth?
Built him a house and made booths for his cattle, and therefore the name of that place is called Succoth. But Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he brought a parcel of a field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money, and erected there an altar and called it El Elohe Israel.
Mm-hmm. So I think he in Jerusalem right here. You know what I'm saying? That's the end of it? Mm-hmm. All right, so I think he in Jerusalem right here. So what we gonna stop here, but we gonna see what happens next as it relates to, so what happens next, we're going to have to tie back into that chapter we skipped. I think it was 29, 28
No,
maybe?
28.
28. So 28, we got to jump back into 28 and look at Bethel. Because now he's about to, after he made it back, now he's about to go to praise the Most High God again. And he's going to be in a situation where he's going to look at everybody that's with him and be like, man, no, y'all take that stuff off. Take that darn stuff off. Take off them earrings. Take off all that stuff. That shoot all that come as you are stuff in the foot, right? But the reason why he got the mind to do that is because of what he saw in Bethel, and he gonna make a prayer and all that stuff. So all these experiences that he had is building his trust with God because he see God is following through in every way as long as he's patient. You could tell he's a very patient man, right? He's able to work 14, 20 years, you know what I'm saying? Even though he knows he's being cheated, right? For him, it's not making sure that nobody ever gets the best of him. For him, it's just a long game. He's just waiting for it. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for it and making sure things is right. All right? Any questions?